Namaste, friends, and welcome back to the podcast. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about 3 tips to bring you back into your body. I think many of us midlife women have spent a lot of our lives feeling disconnected from our bodies, judging our bodies, pushing our bodies too hard. And over time, we have forgotten how to be in communication with our bodies, how to really live inside of our bodies. We've spent so much time judging them, trying to fix them, pushing them too hard, abusing them with lack of sleep or improper nutrition or hydration or even crazy diets to try to lose weight. We've done so many things to try to mold our bodies into what we want them to be versus appreciating them for what they are and for what they do for us. And another thing that we have tended to do, and this applies to all people, not even just midlife women, is that we think that our bodies are simply a vehicle or a machine, something that allows us to do the things that we really want to do, the things that we think are important. But our bodies are so much more than that. They are energetic beings and they carry our emotions, they carry our intuition, they carry our soul, they carry really the essence of who we are. So yes, they are a vehicle that allows us to move about this earthly experience and do the things that we want, but that's really only one facet of the body. Yoga says that we have 5 layers to our being, and only one of those layers is the body. That's the Annamaya Kosha. It's the outermost layer. And then beneath that are 4 other layers, and each layer gets deeper and deeper into the essence of who we are until we land in that last layer, which is called the bliss body in English. And that is our soul, our essence, our wholeness. That is where peace exists and where we feel free and where we really know who we are on that deep level. So the Annamaya Kosha, or the body, is the portal that allows us to reach those deeper and deeper levels. But it only allows us to do that if we are actually paying attention to the body and listening to it and having compassion for it. If we're just trying to fix it or mold it or judge it or criticize it, we become detached. We become detached from our bodies and we start living solely in our heads. And this is a really common problem that I see in midlife women and in many people in general. So how do you know? How do you know if you have become disconnected from your body and you are really mostly living in the mind? Often we can feel it. So we may actually feel a disconnection from our bodies. Our bodies may feel numb. We might have trouble identifying or naming our emotions, or feel that we don't really have emotions or not very strong emotions. We may feel anxious or kind of this general sense of underlying unsafety. Like we just feel unsafe all the time, no matter where we are or what we're doing. There's this sense of I am not safe. We can't turn our thoughts off. So this racing mind is another sign and symptom that you may be disconnected from your body, that the mind never stops churning. It's always trying to plan, to fix, to analyze, to create a sense of safety in some way. And we know that none of those things actually do, but the mind, the mind's very persistent. And so you may find that if you're not connected to your body, that your mind is constantly in one of those modes: planning, fixing, judging, criticizing. We may find that we can't be still. So if you're the type of person who says, I just have to constantly be doing something, the moment I sit down, and do nothing, it is so uncomfortable that I have to either jump up and actually do something or grab for my phone and start scrolling or turn on the television. I have trouble being alone, right? Because when I'm alone, there's more stillness around me, and that stillness around me is very uncomfortable. So, having trouble with stillness is a key indicator, a key sign or symptom that you are likely disconnected from your body. Uh, Also, when you don't notice your body's cues until they are very significant. So we might ignore things like being tired or being thirsty or hungry or even mild pain sensations in our body and not notice that there is something happening, something wrong inside our bodies until it is extremely painful. And that is definitely a sign that we are disconnected from the body. The body is sending us mild signals all the time about how it's doing. Every minute of every day, your body is sending you little messages about what's going on inside. But if we're disconnected, we don't hear those messages. They fall on deaf ears. And so the body has to shout to get our attention. And that is a sign that you are disconnected from your body. So, vice versa, what does it feel like? How do you know if you're like, well, I'm not sure. Is that me? Well, let's talk about what you feel like when you are connected to your body. So, when you are connected to your body, you feel the full range of emotions. You feel joy and peace and happiness and sadness and anger. You feel it all. The full spectrum of emotions is open to you. You are able to feel them, you are able to name them, and you are able to sit with them and allow them to exist within your body. You also may notice that your mind is much slower when you are in your body. Because here's the other thing, we're not always in our bodies or always out of our bodies. There are some of us who really have a hard time connecting to our bodies and don't spend a lot of time there. But for many of you, you may notice that sometimes I feel embodied in my body and sometimes I don't. And what is the difference? And once we get into our bodies, if you can drop in, you may notice that your mind starts to slow or that your breathing gets more slow or deeper. These are signs that you have dropped into your body. Another sign that, and I didn't mention this, the flip side is being present in the moment. So, if you're the type of person who really struggles to be present in the moment, you want to be present with your loved one or your friend or your work, but you find that you keep getting distracted by your own thoughts, distracted by things outside of you. You just have a really hard time being fully in this moment. That is a sign of being disconnected from your body. And vice versa, when you feel comfortable being present, when the mind is not constantly intruding on the present moment, and you feel safe to put away distractions, that is a sign that you are connected to your body. Your intuition. So, we mentioned that the body is always sending us signals, little messages all the time. And those messages are often physical sensations, but they're also gut knowings. They're also the messages of, of intuition, the things that our soul wants us to know. And our soul is sending us the message, and it comes in the form of intuition and often through the body. So that could be a feeling in the body, that could be a thought that comes into the mind, that could be actually a sound that you hear that no one else hears. It could be a vision that you see. These are all pathways through these senses of the body. We connect with our intuition and we hear what our soul is trying to tell us. But if we're not connected, because often, almost always, intuition is one of those quieter, more subtle messages from the body, not the loud ones, like something's really, really wrong, three-alarm fire, right? Intuition doesn't send messages in the form of a three-alarm fire, right? They send it in a gentle whisper. So when we're disconnected, we don't hear that gentle whisper. And when we connect in, that's when we start being able to hear what our soul wants us to know. And we get a lot of clarity about what we're supposed to be doing in our lives and where we're supposed to be going. You'll have a sense of safety when you are able to live inside your body, a sense that wherever you are, whatever is going on, that you can connect inward and you can find that peace and that calm that always lives inside the body, and you can feel safe there. So those are just some of the signs and symptoms of being connected or disconnected from your body. And as I mentioned, you may float in and out. You may not even realize it. Often we do things in our lives that do help us become connected to our bodies because it's a natural instinct to do that. But what I would like you to be able to do is feel that sense all the time, or at least the majority of the time. And that you can connect inward to your body, listen to what it has to say, feel safe there, and have the mind calm and slow because it knows it doesn't need to fix, plan, analyze, judge. You've got it, right? You've got it. You're present in this moment and everything is okay. So, how do we do that? Let's talk about these three tips for coming into the body. The first one is self-compassion. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, we have many of us spent a lifetime not being very compassionate towards our bodies, really having a lot of judgment about how they look or maybe how well that they work, right? If you've had troubles with your body in some way, an illness, um, an injury, something that has kept you from fully living the life that you want to live, you may have some beef with your body. You might have some resentment, some anger, some frustration with how your body works. I can tell you, even in myself, I've always been the type of person who needs a lot of sleep and the type of person who needs rest, not just sleep, but also rest. I really can't push my body to the extremes that a lot of other people can. And that has been a struggle for me, right? So it's not always, oh, I have this illness, so I can't do what I want in my life, or I broke my leg, so I can't do what I want, or I have this permanent injury that stops me from playing the sport that I love. Sometimes it's just our constitution, right? How we were created. And maybe we would prefer that we were created in a different way. For many years of my life, I would have told you that I would prefer that I was created with a sturdier constitution, someone who could work many hours, didn't require a lot of sleep, didn't need to eat every 2 to 3 hours like a toddler, because that is what my body needs. Didn't need significant periods of downtime and rest to stay regulated, right? So these are all ways that we can be fighting our bodies without even being fully aware. It's like a subconscious pattern of judging ourselves for the way that we were just created, the way that we were meant to be in this world. So, so whether you're judging the way that your body looks or how it's functioning or how you were made, your constitution, the first thing that we can do to come back into our bodies is to begin with self-compassion, to begin with not only accepting our bodies for the way they are, exactly the way they are, but loving them for it, seeing the gifts that are within each of these things. I wrote a Substack post last week, and I'll link it in the show notes, but I give you some tips in there on how to love your body, how to get in touch with your body and love your body for the way it is. And one of those is to write your body a letter. And like I said, I'll link that in the show notes, but this idea of self-compassion, of loving your body for exactly what it is. So how can we do this if, on a regular basis? Well, self-touch is really, really powerful. Placing a hand on the heart and on the belly, or giving yourself an embrace, wrapping your arms around yourself and giving yourself a hug, even self massage, rubbing a spot on your body or place in your body. These are all ways that we are saying to our body, I'm here with you and I'm here for you, just like you would do for a friend, right? Or a loved one, where we use that compassionate touch to let them know, hey, I'm here for you and I'm here with you, and I'm going to hold you in this moment. I'm going to hold space for you and for all parts of you. And we can do that for ourselves. And in fact, it's incredibly important that we do. And especially when we're feeling that discomfort, when the mind is racing, when the breath is short, when we're noticing uncomfortable sensations rising up and we desperately want to distract from them. Those are the times when self-touch and showing that self-compassion is so, so valuable to coming back to our bodies and to sending our bodies the message that it's okay, right? It's okay. You are perfect exactly as you are. So that's tip number one, self-compassion through self-touch. Tip number two would be a body scan. So in this first method, this self-compassionate touch, we're just saying, hey, I'm here with you, right? We're not asking anything of the body. We're just saying, I got you. Everything's okay. I love you exactly the way you are. In the body scan, which, if you're unfamiliar with a body scan, basically you can work either head to toe or toe to head. You can go whichever direction feels the best for you. But you work your way through the body by placing your awareness on each part of the body. So, for example, if we're working from toe to head, we would place our awareness on our feet and we just pay attention. What's happening in my feet? What's happening on the tops of my feet, the bottoms of my feet, in my toes, right? Am I feeling anything? There could be maybe some tingling or warmth, or there could be a sensation of air passing by. There could be nothing. You could say, I could barely feel my feet. They're almost not there. You could feel some movement. It's not really about what you feel in per se. It's more about taking the time to place your awareness on your body and what you're feeling in your body. And you would do this just moving up your body. So then moving into the calves and paying attention there. What sensations am I feeling in the calves? And you also don't need to name it. And in fact, I recommend that you don't. I recommend that you strictly be aware and not try to place any name on the sensation. And then you can continue moving up again into the pelvis and the belly and the chest and the back and arms all the way up to the head. Each time you move up, taking a few moments to just be with the sensations that are there, not trying to fix them, not trying to understand them, or make sense out of them, but simply just being with them. And then you can ask the body, once you've scanned all the way up or all the way down, you can ask the body, is there anything that I need to know? Is there anything you'd like to share with me? And then just wait, just silence, a few moments of silence to see if anything comes up, if any answers arise. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. That is not the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise is to bring that awareness to your bodily sensations. And sometimes when we do that, the body gives us a message. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just happy that you paid attention to it. So that would be tip number two is this body scan, just sitting with the body in awareness of the sensations that are happening inside of your body. The third one would be mindful movement. So, of course, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know I love yoga. So, I highly recommend a yoga practice. It can be done at a studio, it can be done in your home, it can be done anywhere that you are able to just breathe and move and be without distraction. And so while I love yoga and there are so many benefits to yoga on an energetic level, it is not the only type of movement that will get us into our bodies. Any movement that feels good in your body and you can do without distraction is the movement that you should do. So maybe that's dancing. Maybe it's just taking a walk in your neighborhood without your cell phone. Maybe it is gardening, right? Maybe it's even playing a solo sport, something that you can do by yourself and just feel into your body while you're doing them. Because the idea here is to not be receiving, to avoid receiving too many messages from outside of you. So if you're taking a walk, but you're doing it with a friend, you're not in your body. You're paying attention to your friend as you should be because you guys are together, right? If you're playing a sport with someone else, again, you're not in your body. You are interacting with the other person. You're in competition mode, right? So we want to do mindful movement, movement that's done by ourselves, except for in a yoga class, of course. I guess I'll give you that caveat because we really are pretty much on your mat by yourself, even if you're in a group of other with other students. And one of the things actually in that setting that I really recommend is what we call in yoga pratyahara, which means withdrawal of the senses. So if you go to a yoga class and you find yourself externally focused, you find that you're looking at other people on their mats. You're thinking about the shapes, how their shapes look on their mat, how their body looks, maybe their outfit, their hair, or you're worrying about what they think about your hair, your outfit, your shapes, right? If you're finding that that monkey mind is really coming into your yoga practice when you go into a studio with other practitioners, I recommend trying this pratyahara, which basically means you will close your eyes, you will withdraw the sense perception of your eyes as much as you possibly can. So I don't want anyone getting hurt and losing their balance because they closed their eyes and they fell to the floor or anything like that. But whenever you feel physically steady enough to be able to close the eyes, I highly recommend it. All of your floor poses in your downward dog. Maybe once you get yourself settled into your warrior poses and you're feeling really steady in the bottom half of your body in your warrior poses, closing the eyes. These are all moments where we can be fully in our bodies and take our focus completely internally because when we close off the eyes, we close ourselves off to the external world. And that's what we are attempting to do here to be able to fully get into our bodies. So I highly, highly recommend that. If you're taking a walk, and again, you're doing this by yourself without any form of distraction with you, maybe you're just feeling the sensation of as your foot hits the pavement, right? And you're feeling the bend in your foot as you walk forward, and you're feeling the heel strike as you land. Maybe you're feeling the sensations in your legs or your hips as you move. These are all ways of just coming in and feeling inside the body and getting to know the body, getting familiar with it, becoming friends with it. That's what I'm inviting you to do here is instead of treating your body like an enemy or something that needs an upgrade, treat it like your best friend and allow it to speak to you, allow it to carry you. And yes, it has carried you through your life, right? You've done everything you've done it with your body. But if you have disconnected from it, then you've disconnected to the deeper levels of it, the intuition, the deeper wisdom, that bliss body of peace and wholeness. And even disconnected from your emotions, which are a beautiful part of being a soul living or having a human experience. So I hope all of that made sense to you and that you are open maybe to some of those practices that I mentioned. This is really what my four-week coaching program is all about. I just launched a new 4-week coaching program called Coming Home to Your Body, Coming Home to Yourself. And it's a shorter coaching container. I typically do a 12-week container. This one is only 4 weeks. And it is basically the first part of that larger 12-week container. And I did this because I really think there are a lot of women out there who don't feel ready to launch into a full 12-week program. The time commitment, the financial commitment seems a little overwhelming. But I know how deeply beneficial this first part is, just learning to get back into the body, which will decrease the anxiety, the overwhelm, the monkey mind. It will help you feel more peaceful, more centered, more grounded, more like yourself. And it'll start allowing you to get clarity on who you are, what you want, what your purpose is. And these are things I know so many women are struggling with. So I created this 4-week container. It is 4 sessions with me, along with communication in between through what's called a Voxer app. It's like a walkie-talkie app. So you have access to me to ask any questions and get any answers you might need in between those sessions. And like all my coaching, it is a combination of mind-body practices and mindset work, or the coaching piece, where I help you to understand the patterns that are keeping you stuck, the patterns that are preventing you from fully being embodied and live inside your body, and from finding that clarity that you're seeking. So the link to that is in my show notes. It's $397. It is a fraction of the cost of my typical coaching container, but it is so full of benefit. You will come out of these 4 weeks feeling like you have tools and skills and practices to carry you forward, to help you in those moments of overwhelm, of anxiety, of confusion. You will gain so much insight into yourself and into what you want in that 4-week period. So head over to that link and check it out. And I hope to see you on my calendar, because this is what I love doing. I love helping women come home to themselves, come home to their bodies, to finally love themselves the way that they deserve, and to find the clarity they've been seeking. All right, my friends, have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your week, and I will talk to you next time. Namaste.